Most of us don't struggle with being irresponsible. We struggle with carrying too much, not because no one else will, although as long as we're doing all the things no one else has to. Also, not because we're martyrs, but because somewhere along the way, responsibility became identity. And when responsibility becomes identity, pressure quietly expands. We don't notice it. We just call it being dependable. So let's start with something important because responsibility is real. This isn't about avoiding responsibility. It isn't about becoming passive. It isn't about dropping what matters. It's about understanding what happens when responsibility quietly turns into obligation. And obligation becomes the lens through which we live everything. That's the distinction. And most of us were never taught to see it. Let's talk about what responsibility actually is. Responsibility is specific, it's contextual, it's tied to a role, an agreement, a circumstance. It answers a clear question: what is mine to do here? If we accept a job, there's defined responsibilities. If we commit to someone, there are defined responsibilities. If we step into a role, there are defined responsibilities. Even when they're complex, they still have edges. Responsibility has edges, it has shape, it has scope, even if that scope needs conversation. Responsibility ends at action. We do the thing, we show up, we fulfill what's ours, and then, at least in that moment, it's done. There may be more tomorrow, but responsibility itself does not follow us into every thought. The difference is what internalized pressure is. And that is that pressure feels different. It's internal, it's expansive. Pressure is moralized. Pressure sounds like we should be doing more. We should be handling this better. We should be feeling differently. We should anticipate needs before they're spoken. We shouldn't need help. Pressure isn't tied to a defined agreement. It's tied to internal standard. Responsibility says, this is mine. Pressure says, this is all on me. Responsibility has edges, pressure doesn't. Pressure follows us home. Pressure shows up when we try to rest. Pressure shows up in the quiet. Pressure shows up in the pause. And because we're capable, we often respond to pressure the same way we respond to responsibility, by doing more. That's where things get heavy. So where it gets blurry is that some responsibilities are ongoing, some are emotionally layered, some are ambiguous. And here's where nuance really matters. Responsibility can absolutely be heavy, but pressure makes it heavier than it has to be. When responsibility is unclear, undefined, pressure fills the gap. If no one clarifies the scope, which could be you clarifying it, our internal system does. It consciously clarifies it. And our internal system is actually harsher. Responsibility asks, what is mine to do? Pressure asks, how much more can I carry? Responsibility says, this is my role. Pressure says, if I don't do it, it won't get done. If I had a nickel for every time I ever thought that thought. Responsibility is role-based. Pressure becomes identity-based. And once identity absorbs obligation, we stop feeling finished, even when we've done enough. So let's talk about why high-functioning women blur these two. And part of it I've spoken about before, which is because we're praised for carrying more. We're told we are the responsible ones. We're the strong ones. We always can be counted on. Of course, I don't know what we'd do without you. So carrying became competence. Competence became identity. Identity became obligation. So we weren't irresponsible, we were rewarded for overfunctioning. Over time, that reward structure becomes self-surveillance, and we monitor ourselves, we evaluate ourselves, we raise the bar on ourselves. We rarely pause to ask, is this actually mine? Or did I absorb it? Because when something feels like identity, we don't question it, we defend it. Here's the cost. When we confuse responsibility with pressure, a few things happen. We never feel done. We never feel allowed to exhale. We confuse exhaustion with integrity. We think feeling stretched is proof we're doing it right. We wear the badge of, I got a lot done, and we wear it proudly. We assume that that heaviness equals virtue, and that if it doesn't feel heavy, we're not doing it right. Obligation often looks noble until it quietly runs our entire life. And here's the part that's hard to see. We can fulfill every real responsibility in our life and still feel heavy, because the heaviness isn't always from what's ours. It's from what we've absorbed. So the identity layer specifically is that when responsibility becomes identity, we stop asking what's required and we start asking how much more we can handle. We just start believing, if I can carry it, I should. If I can solve it, I should. If I can see it, it's mine. And that is where invisible expectation attach themselves to real life. Responsibility is about role, but pressure is about worth. Responsibility says, this is part of my life, and pressure says, this proves who I am. This proves that I'm worthy. That's the difference. And it's subtle and it's sneaky. It's insidious the way that it quietly moves in and takes over. So here's a reframe. Clarity doesn't remove the responsibility. Clarity prevents pressure from expanding beyond it. We are allowed to examine scope. We are allowed to ask, is this actually mine? What is actually mine here? What did I agree to? What did I assume? What is required? What is internal? And see, that is not rebellion, it's maturity. That is leadership. And without that examination, obligation quietly grows. It takes over, it runs us. So let's make it real. Think of one responsibility in your life right now, not the biggest one, just one. And now ask, is this defined, or is it expanding internally? Is it taking over? Is it running me in whatever way it does? Is this something I agreed to? Or is it something I absorbed unconsciously? What's actually mine here? And where does it end? And if we can't answer that clearly, that's where pressure is likely attaching itself. We don't have to change anything yet. What I'm asking you to do or inviting you to do is just look at it. See what you see there. We can be responsible without being constantly required. And we can carry what's ours without absorbing what isn't. But that distinction requires awareness. So my invitation to you is to look at it so you can, in that awareness, have more information about how you want to move forward. Most of us were never taught to separate these two for whatever reason. So this week, just notice the difference between I agreed to this and I feel obligated to this. And you might have to sit in it a little bit to really identify what's true for you. That difference matters more than we realize. And if this resonates, we're going much deeper into this inside. Stop shooting on yourself. Because when we separate responsibility from pressure, something shifts, not dramatically, but steadily. And that shift changes how life feels. So, no more fine. No more fine. Now we live.